My name is Orian Barzilay, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I still live in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn's finest. I consider myself a child of art, a master of art. I think anything involving art I've always been a part of. I live and breathe art. I used to paint murals, I used to draw a lot growing up. Choreography was very big in my life, music and dance. But anything when it comes to film, when it comes to music, it's just, there's art in everything we do. And I feel like everything you do, if you can finesse it the right way, you know, you can add art into anything. What is art? Is art art? Are we art? I started losing my hair, started when I was 16 years old. It's when I first noticed it. The barber's always the first guy to tell you that you're losing your hair. He's the first guy to point it out to you. And when he first told me that I was losing my hair, I was like, oh, you know, you got a bald spot back here. I just laughed at him. I knew he was kidding. 16 years old, he couldn't be serious. And yeah, he was on point. I was starting to thin in the back, and immediately it spread like wildfire. I dramatically thinned out by 17, so I had a complete horseshoe in less than a year. All my hair had fallen out. I tried a couple of hair transplants, a couple of unsuccessful hair transplants along the way. My first one was at the age of 21. Couldn't tell you how many grafts they did, couldn't tell you how many grafts they put in, couldn't tell you how many grafts stayed behind. But I know that after 4 failed hair transplants, I was still unsatisfied. And there's a lot of depression along the way, a lot of hat wearing, a lot of trying to figure out where I can go, what I can wear, did I wear this already? You know, how many people have seen me in this outfit? I can't keep wearing the same hat over and over, I gotta find something different. I used to cut my hair religiously every day, if not every other day. I'd never forget, even when I wore a hat. So I'd shave just to cover it with a hat. And it's amazing that after this treatment, you can go 3, 4, 5 days and forget to cut your hair. It slips your mind. You forget that you're bald. I was ecstatic after I had the procedure done the first time. First time I knew that this was gonna work was immediately following my first session. I'd looked in the mirror, and after, like I said, 4 failed hair transplants, $30,000 wasted with doctors, with guys in white coats, and one session with one artist, and I'm looking in the mirror and I see more hair follicles, or what looks like hair follicles, than $30,000 got me. And I knew I found it. I knew I found exactly what I was looking for. When I tell people about the procedure, they don't believe me. They have a really, really hard time swallowing it. It's, you know, it comes up in different ways. Sometimes you get a compliment, sometimes you accept it, sometimes you let them know. You know, if the guy's in a similar situation, you might feel and be like, yeah, listen, it's actually, when I talk about what I do for a living and I have to actually point at my own head, people are in disbelief. The conversation erupts, and it becomes more and more about my head and my hair. I'm like, I don't believe it. What do you mean? I've been looking at you, I've been talking to you for the last 20 minutes, half an hour, people who have known me for weeks, months, you know, your job just doesn't come up, and eventually when it does, they're shocked. They're like, dude, I had no idea. I thought you just, you know, what we want everyone to think. They thought we shaved our head. They thought I just keep my hair really low. Now, I tried a couple of other hair loss solutions too. Besides the hair transplants, I did try Topic once. I didn't know that one of these hair concealers actually required hair. So I was just basically sprinkling hair fibers on my bald head. They weren't really sticking to anything. It was the equivalent of going into a barbershop and scooping some hair off the floor and just dabbing it on my head. So that didn't work out well. None of them really stand out. You know, to be honest with you, every person you meet is all going through the same thing. They're all experiencing the same thing. Some guys have it worse than others, but they all feel the same way. So no client really stands out in particular, you know. There's just some people's stories that stand out more than others. And I have met a few people in my time that were depressed. Naturally, this thing upsets a lot of people, you know. I myself was in a serious depression. But I've met people that told me that they were suicidal. People that told me that they were so unhappy that they were ready to just check out. They were done. And I think those are really the guys that you remember for a long time. And it's always really great to speak to them in the future and just to hear their tone And if I told you that the guy was suicidal, the guy admitted to me that he was thinking about taking his own life, you would never believe it when you hear the tone in his voice. He sounds so optimistic, so happy. So I think probably that means the most to me. My greatest challenge as a practitioner, I don't know. I guess for me, I don't really think anything is a challenge. You just have to find the right approach. I remember growing up, my father was a contractor who always used to tell me, if the job is hard, you're using the wrong tool or you're using the wrong technique. So it goes back into the art and always finding, always mastering your techniques. So some people just got to find the right approach, the right color, the right pressure. But I do often like it when a guy comes to me and thinks that he can't be saved. When he thinks he's the worst case, a guy that's had doctors work on him, a guy that's had other countless procedures done on him. He's tried throwing money at it, he's tried throwing concealers at it, and then he meets me. A guy that he just found out about randomly through the internet, through Facebook, through Instagram. A guy who had no idea this procedure even existed. And I proved him wrong, or I proved him right, or I proved his, whatever it is. There's so many, or their peers. I always tell people there's the first session and the second session where you see it build up. And there's a lot of guys that like to hide in between their treatments. They don't want anyone in their private life to see them until they're completely done with their treatment. And I always say, let them see it. Because you're gonna laugh when they can't tell. You're gonna laugh when you're sitting amongst family and friends that have known you most of your life, and either you're getting compliments already, or it's so unsuspecting no one said anything to you. One of the reasons that I definitely got into SMP is because I knew that I'd be good at it. I knew that I have the patience for it, and I knew that I have the technique. I knew I have the skill. I knew that no matter what I do, I'd always be great at it. But for me, it was really what it did for me. I wanted to share that experience with other people. It changed my life, and after trying so many other solutions that just didn't work, and knowing that I found the one that did, I wanted to be the one that bestowed that gift upon other people, because that's what it was for me. For me, it was a blessing. It was a blessing, and I wanted to share that with people, and I wanted to be the guy that gives that to others. Scalp micropigmentation is the artful process of pigmenting hair so that it looks like you have a buzzed head. If you're one of those guys that already shave your head or already keep your hair really low, this is it. This is exactly what you've been looking for. A lot of people think that SMP and tattoos are the same. They're not. Tattoos are completely different than SMP. We don't use any of the same machines. We don't use any of the same equipment. We don't use the same needles. Most important, we don't use the same ink. A lot of times, if you ever look at a tattoo, you can clearly see that it has a blue or greenish haze to it, and they discolor over time. And what we use is a pure black ink so that when we're done with the treatment, it doesn't show up looking like a tattoo. We stress to our clients that the whole point of this treatment is nobody's supposed to know that you had anything done. Let everyone think that you started growing your hair out a little bit, that's all. Hi! Hi! Sorry, I called him. Hi, how are you? How you doing? Hi, gosh. What's his name?
Oscar.
Oscar!
Yes.
Oh my God, you have the same name as my baloney.
That's right.
Bye, Oscar. All right. Cost of the treatment can range anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 on average, depending on the severity of your baldness. The treatments range depending on severity of the hair loss. You can be in the room for an hour to 3 hours on your first session, but you can always expect to be there at least an hour or two longer on your second. So figure if you're on average, if you're looking about 2 hours on your first session, you're looking at about 3 or 4 on your second session. Name another hair loss solution that guarantees its work. Nothing else is guaranteed. And in my opinion, from a guy who does this professionally, who's seen every other guy, who's tried every other hair loss solution, some who've tried more than others, nothing else is guaranteed. You have your your concealers that you got to worry about when it rains or when it, you can't sweat, can't jump into a pool, can't have anyone touch your head by accident or rub it by accident. You got hair transplants that don't guarantee their work, but they guarantee their price. You're definitely walking out of there spending thousands of dollars and no guarantee to whether or not that hair is going to make the trip. I mean, sounds like a bad deal to me. You can see the results right away. As soon as you get up out of that chair, you can look in the mirror and you know it's working. Instant gratification. And isn't that what we all want in the 21st century? Instant gratifications. We use a 3-point microneedle in all of our treatments to ensure the smallest pigmented dot. We want it to look like a hair fiber. We want it to look like a hair follicle and not polka dotty. Everyone's different. On a scale of 1 to 10, most people fall somewhere in the middle on an average of 4 to 5. A lot of people find it discomforting. Most people describe it more as an annoying pain, but we won't know who you are until you try it. Most people say that the front hurts more than the back. I have had a few on occasion that say the back hurt more than the front. And then some people say the side hurts more. So as you can tell, there's no answer to that question. I've had guys that say we don't wish it on our worst enemy, and then I've had guys that have fallen asleep during a treatment. The good way to describe what the needle does is to actually first describe what a tattoo needle does and how our application is different. So when you're looking at a tattoo, what you do with a tattoo is you're actually carving the skin. So the same as doing calligraphy, is you don't actually take the needle out of the skin. You're dragging it through the skin. You're carving the skin. And that's actually what we don't do with SMP. So what we do is we actually individually go in and deposit ink in each dot to actually make it look like a follicle. So when a tattoo goes about 5 to 7 layers deep with a regular tattoo, we're actually only going about 2 to 3 layers deep and literally depositing droplets of ink in your scalp, keeping them closer to the surface of the skin so they actually appear to look like hair follicles. This treatment works on all ethnicities and all hair colors, all hair types, all styles, all backgrounds, all nationalities. If you're human, I got you. Make it out of high school yet, and I was already starting to bald, so it hit me pretty hard, I was at a very young age where your looks meant everything to you. And as mine slowly started to fade away, so did my personality and my enthusiasm and my love for life. So it really messed me up. I can definitely say that it attributed to my depression. It was definitely what sent me spiraling into a depression. And nothing helped until I discovered SMP, until I came across SMP. Life-changing. Everything changes. It's amazing how much getting a procedure like this can alter your mood and your energy. And through that, it translates in life. And everything in your life changes with it. Once you start being more positive, you don't do things the same way that you would if you were depressed and sad. So, I don't know where my life would be without SMP, but I know where I am today and I'm very happy. When I tell people about the procedure that I've had done, they don't believe me. Oftentimes, as soon as I actually tell a person that I've had the procedure done and that they've been looking at it for the past, 20 minutes to an hour, they're in complete disbelief. They believe it less when you tell them that it's not real. After all the changes going through company to company, and I gotta say, in terms of rewarding for me, because when I do a treatment for a client, that's not for me, that's for the client. So if we're being literal and we're asking what the most rewarding part of my career was, it was definitely becoming part of Hairline Inc. This company has a good beat on things. They know what they're doing. They know how to satisfy their clients. They know how to reach out to their clients. They know how to manage their clients. And I guess for me, that's been the most successful part of my career. Working with a company that knows how to do right by their clients. And you know, their track record shows it. You know, you started about a year ago, and they're competing with the top dogs, the guys that have been out there for years, guys that have been doing out there for 10 years, 15 years. We're up there. So, yeah, that's what I like.
That's crazy.
We're actually using individual dots to create one full image. We fooled everyone. We're gonna fool your barber, we're gonna fool your spouse, we're gonna fool your lover, we're gonna fool your friends, we're gonna fool your brother, we're gonna fool your twin brother.